Ever felt that pregnancy glow is more of a pregnancy slow? You're not alone. Let's talk about Emily. In her second trimester, Emily felt like she was wading through molasses. That vibrant, energetic woman she knew was replaced by someone who needed a nap after just climbing the stairs. She was eating well, she thought, getting her greens, her dairy. But something was off. The culprit? A classic case of misunderstood nutrients. This isn't just Emily's story. It's a story for so many expecting moms out there. And today, we're going to unravel the mystery of two pregnancy powerhouses, iron and calcium. Stick around, because understanding this could change everything for you and your little one. So, Emily heads to her doctor, lists her symptoms: fatigue, shortness of breath, feeling dizzy sometimes. She even joked, "I feel like an old battery that won't hold a charge." Her doctor, after a quick checkup and some blood tests, gave her the diagnosis. It wasn't anything scary, but it was significant. She was borderline anemic and not getting enough calcium. Emily was confused. "But I eat spinach salads every day and drink a glass of milk before bed," she said. Her doctor smiled kindly and explained, "Emily, pregnancy is like building a whole new person from scratch. Your body's demand for raw materials, especially iron and calcium, goes through the roof. What was enough before just isn't enough now. Let's break this down. Iron is the superstar for making hemoglobin, the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen. When you're pregnant, your blood volume can increase by nearly 50%. That is a lot more blood needing a lot more hemoglobin to carry oxygen to every part of your body and, crucially, to your growing baby. If you don't have enough iron, you get anemia. That's why Emily felt so drained. Her body was working overtime with an under-equipped oxygen delivery service. Her baby was still getting what it needed, because babies are brilliant little resource takers, but it was leaving Emily completely depleted. Then there's calcium. We all know it's for strong bones and teeth. During pregnancy, your baby is building its entire skeleton. Where does it get the calcium? From you, of course. If you're not consuming enough calcium, your baby will start borrowing it directly from your bones. This can put you at risk for osteoporosis later in life. It's not just about bones either. Calcium is vital for developing your baby's heart, nerves, and muscles. It's like the fundamental building block for their body's entire electrical and structural system. So, Emily's daily glass of milk was a good start, but her body and her baby were demanding more. Back at the doctor's office, Emily was given a plan. It wasn't just eat more, it was about eating smarter. The doctor handed her prescriptions for an iron supplement and a calcium supplement. But here came the most important piece of advice, the part that Emily had been getting wrong. "Now, Emily," the doctor said, "here's the secret. You cannot take these two together." Emily blinked. "What? Why not?" The doctor explained that calcium and iron are like competitive siblings. When you take them at the same time, they fight for absorption in your gut. And calcium, being the bigger bully, usually wins. This means you might take an iron pill, but if you wash it down with a glass of milk or take it with your calcium supplement, you'll barely absorb any of that precious iron. This was a light bulb moment for Emily. She had been diligently eating her spinach salad, rich in iron, with a feta cheese topping, rich in calcium. She thought she was being doubly healthy. In reality, she was accidentally sabotaging her own iron intake. The key, her doctor stressed, was timing. Take your iron supplement in the morning with a small glass of orange juice, she advised, and take your calcium supplement in the evening, maybe a few hours after dinner. Why the orange juice? Vitamin C is iron's best friend. It dramatically boosts iron absorption. So, pairing your iron-rich foods or supplements with things like oranges, strawberries, bell peppers, or broccoli is a game changer. So, Emily's new routine began. She started her day with her iron supplement and a glass of fresh squeezed orange juice. She waited at least an hour before having her breakfast, which often included iron-fortified cereal. For lunch, she'd have something like lentil soup or a lean beef sandwich, both great sources of iron. She made sure to separate her dairy intake. Her mid-afternoon snack might be a Greek yogurt, and she'd take her calcium supplement before bed, giving it plenty of time away from her iron-heavy meals. It felt a little like scheduling appointments for her nutrients, but she was determined to get it right. What about food sources? Because supplements are great, but a food-first approach is always best. For iron, there are two types: heme iron, from animal sources, and non-heme iron, from plant sources. Heme iron, found in red meat, poultry, and fish, is more easily absorbed by the body. Non-heme iron, found in beans, lentils, spinach, tofu, and fortified grains, is still fantastic, but it needs that vitamin C buddy to help it get absorbed. So, if you're having a bean burrito, add some salsa. If you're having a spinach salad, throw in some sliced strawberries or bell peppers instead of cheese. For calcium, the options are plentiful. Dairy products like milk, cheese, and yogurt are the most obvious choices. But if you're dairy-free, don't worry. There are so many other options. Fortified plant-based milks like almond, soy, or oat milk are excellent. Leafy greens like kale and collard greens, not collard, not spinach, which can inhibit calcium absorption, are good sources. Canned salmon and sardines with the bones, tofu made with calcium sulfate, and fortified orange juice are also fantastic ways to boost your intake. The goal for most pregnant women is around 1,000 to 1,300 milligrams of calcium per day. That might sound like a lot, but a cup of yogurt, a glass of fortified milk, and a serving of kale can get you well on your way. Within a couple of weeks, Emily started to feel the difference. The fog in her brain began to lift. She could walk up the stairs without feeling like she'd just run a marathon. She had energy to go for evening walks with her partner and to enjoy setting up the nursery. She wasn't just surviving her pregnancy, she was starting to thrive in it. That pregnancy glow everyone talks about? For Emily, it wasn't just a myth anymore. It was the feeling of being properly nourished, of her body having the fuel it needed to perform the miracle of creating life. She felt strong, capable, and more connected to her body and her baby than ever before. Her story is a powerful reminder that pregnancy nutrition is nuanced. It's not just about what you eat, but how and when you eat it. The simple act of separating her iron and calcium intake transformed her experience. So, let's recap the key takeaways for you. 1. Your need for iron and calcium skyrockets during pregnancy. 2. Iron is for oxygen, fighting fatigue, and building your baby's blood supply. 3. Calcium is for building strong bones for both you and baby, preventing future issues for you. 4. And this is the golden rule. Separate your iron and calcium intake by at least 2 hours. They compete for absorption, and you want to get the full benefit of both. 5. Pair your iron with vitamin C for a massive absorption boost. And 6. Always talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian before starting any supplement regimen. They can give you personalized advice based on your specific needs and health history. Pregnancy is an incredible journey, and you deserve to feel your best during it. Don't just push through the exhaustion thinking it's a mandatory part of the process. Sometimes a small tweak to your routine, like the one Emily made, can make a world of difference. Your body is doing something amazing. Give it the right tools, in the right way, at the right time, and you'll be amazed at what you can do. Thanks for watching today. I hope Emily's story has shed some light on this super important topic. If you found this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content to help you have a healthy and happy pregnancy. Drop a comment below if you have any questions or if you have your own tips for managing pregnancy nutrition. We're all in this together. Stay healthy, stay strong, and we'll see you in the next video. As Emily moved deeper into her pregnancy, she realized something powerful. Food wasn't just fuel, it was communication. Every iron-rich bite told her baby, "I'm giving you oxygen." Every calcium-rich sip whispered, "Your bones will grow strong," and this awareness transformed the way she approached her plate. But before we dive into which foods you should prioritize, you need to understand the story happening inside your body right now. During pregnancy, your blood volume expands dramatically, almost 50% more blood than before. That means your body suddenly needs a much higher supply of iron to create all those extra red blood cells. These cells carry oxygen to your baby, your organs, your brain, and your heart. When there isn't enough iron, your body struggles, and that's when symptoms start showing: crushing fatigue, shortness of breath, hair shedding, pale skin, headaches, and sometimes even heart palpitations. Many women mistake these symptoms for normal pregnancy tiredness, when in reality, they are warning signs of low iron. Emily had felt all of them. The exhaustion was so deep that she described it like a blanket of heaviness wrapped around my entire body. But once she began fueling herself correctly, everything shifted. This is why iron-rich foods should become your closest companions. Foods like spinach, kale, broccoli, lentils, chickpeas, kidney beans, black beans, quinoa, oats, pumpkin seeds, cashews, almonds, eggs, and if you eat meat, options like beef or turkey, all of them give your blood the strength it needs. But the trick is pairing them smartly. You can't just eat iron and expect it to work magically, you have to support it. That's why vitamin C is your iron's best friend. Imagine iron as a heavy door and vitamin C as the key that unlocks it. Without the key, your body simply can't open the door to absorb the iron properly. So Emily created combinations that changed everything: spinach and lemon dressing, lentils with tomatoes, beans with bell peppers, oats with strawberries, quinoa with orange slices, chickpeas with a squeeze of lime. Suddenly, her meals were no longer plain, they were powerful. But now let's talk about calcium, because while iron builds blood, calcium builds bones, not just your baby's bones, but your bones too. Many people don't realize that the baby will take whatever calcium it needs, even if that means taking it from the mother's bones and teeth. This is why some pregnant women experience weakened teeth, bone pain, or leg cramps. Emily did not want that to be her story. She made sure her diet included yogurt, milk, cheese, fortified orange juice, tofu, almonds, sesame seeds, chia seeds, kale, and broccoli. But she followed the most important rule: never take iron and calcium together. They compete with each other inside your digestive system. It's like trying to fit two large objects through a small doorway at the same time, neither gets through properly. Emily scheduled her day so iron foods stayed earlier, and calcium foods stayed later. This simple shift made more difference than she ever expected. Meanwhile, something else was happening in Emily's life. Her confidence began returning. Her energy slowly rebuilt. She no longer dreaded walking up the stairs. She felt lighter, stronger, more aware of her body and her baby. But the most emotional moment came during one of her ultrasound appointments. The doctor said, "Your baby's weight and blood flow look excellent. Keep doing what you're doing." Emily teared up, because she knew it wasn't luck. It was intention. It was commitment. It was understanding how food works, instead of blindly guessing. And that's the kind of transformation I want for you too. I want you to feel empowered, not confused. I want you to eat with purpose, not fear. I want you to know exactly what foods lift you up and what combinations help your baby grow. This is not just nutrition, it's a love language. It's care. It's devotion. And the deeper you understand it, the easier your pregnancy becomes. In the next part, we are going to break down the most powerful iron-rich foods and the strongest calcium sources you can include right now. Not in a boring list, but in a way that feels real, simple, human, and doable. Because when food makes sense emotionally, it becomes part of your life naturally. As we step into page 3, imagine Emily standing in her kitchen one quiet morning, sunlight slipping through the curtains, her hands resting gently on her growing belly. She wasn't just preparing breakfast, she was preparing strength. She knew every choice she made carried weight, and that awareness gave her a sense of purpose she had never felt before. Iron-rich foods weren't just ingredients anymore. They were lifelines. So let's walk through them the same way she did, not as a list, but as a story of survival and growth. First came spinach, a leafy green many people underestimate. But spinach is like a hidden powerhouse, lightweight, simple, and yet capable of transforming your blood with its natural iron. Emily found ways to blend it into smoothies, sauté it with eggs, mix it into soups, and even hide it inside wraps. Each time she consumed it, she imagined oxygen traveling through her veins, reaching her baby with renewed strength. Next came lentils, a food that feels like comfort in a bowl. They're warm, grounding, and naturally rich in iron and protein. Emily cooked big batches of lentil soup, dal, lentil salads, and even lentil tacos. The warmth of lentils felt like an embrace around her tired body, reminding her that nourishment doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to be consistent. And then there were beans: black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, and pinto beans. Every bean is like a tiny capsule of strength, carrying iron, fiber, and plant-based protein. Emily loved chickpeas the most. She roasted them with spices, blended them into hummus, and added them to bowls with rice and vegetables. Beans helped her stay energized for longer because their iron worked alongside fiber to maintain steady blood sugar. She also incorporated quinoa, a tiny grain but a massive source of iron and amino acids. Quinoa became her go-to replacement for rice, giving her more strength without needing to change her dishes too much. Slowly, she built a diet that wasn't overwhelming or expensive, it was simply intentional. But here's where her awareness grew even deeper. Iron doesn't always work alone. Some foods like pumpkin seeds, cashews, almonds, oats, and broccoli bring not just iron but a unique combination of nutrients that help the body use it better. She sprinkled pumpkin seeds on yogurt, added cashews to her smoothies, and ate almonds in the afternoon when cravings hit. Oats became her morning companion, warm, comforting, and paired with strawberries or oranges to boost absorption. Broccoli showed up at dinner, not as a boring side but as a crunchy, lemon-drizzled powerhouse that supported both iron and calcium intake. But while iron gave Emily strength, calcium gave her stability. Calcium-rich foods became a second pillar in her meal plan. Yogurt was the easiest. She ate it plain, topped with fruit, or blended into drinks. Cheese became a snack she didn't feel guilty about anymore, because she now understood it was nourishing her bones and her baby's spine. Milk or fortified plant milks helped her hit her daily calcium numbers with ease. She added chia seeds, tofu, sesame seeds, and kale to her diet, foods that quietly build bone density without you even noticing. What surprised her most was fortified orange juice, a simple drink that delivered both calcium and vitamin C, making it a double benefit choice on days she felt tired or nauseous. Yet the real learning moment came when Emily realized something many pregnant women never hear: iron and calcium fight for absorption inside your body. If taken together, both nutrients lose effectiveness. This knowledge changed everything for her. She wasn't just eating better, she was eating smarter. She structured her meals like this: iron-rich foods earlier in the day or paired with vitamin C, and calcium-rich foods in the evening or away from iron meals. This single shift made her energy rise and her dizziness disappear. She finally felt like herself again. But while her diet improved, her emotional journey deepened too. There were evenings when she still felt tired. Moments when she questioned whether she was doing everything right. Nights when she worried she wasn't eating enough or wasn't choosing the right foods. Pregnancy can make you doubt yourself in ways you never expected, because suddenly you're responsible for someone you haven't even met yet. Emily had those moments too. But each time she felt fear creeping in, she reminded herself, I am learning, I am growing, I am adjusting, and that is enough. And she wasn't alone. Her partner supported her, her doctor encouraged her, and her body gave her little signs of progress: more energy, fewer headaches, a steadier heartbeat, better sleep. These tiny improvements added up to something powerful: confidence. And that confidence became her anchor. Now, as we prepare to move forward, page 4 will take everything deeper. We'll talk about how to combine iron and calcium foods in real-life meals, how to avoid the mistakes most pregnant women unknowingly make, and how simple shifts can protect your energy, your bones, and your baby's development. The transformation you want begins with knowledge, and that's exactly where we're heading next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're expecting, you know the feeling. You're trying to do everything right for your baby, but the advice comes at you from all directions. Eat this, don't eat that, take this supplement, but not with that one. It's overwhelming, right? Well, today, I want to share a story about a friend of mine, let's call her Emily, and her journey with two of the most crucial nutrients during pregnancy: iron and calcium. It's a story about confusion, frustration, and ultimately, finding a balance that made her pregnancy journey so much healthier and more energetic. When Emily first found out she was pregnant, she was ecstatic. She immediately dove into all the pregnancy books and blogs. She learned she needed more iron to prevent anemia and support the baby's development, and more calcium for strong bones and teeth for both her and the baby. So, she did what most of us would do. She loaded up. Her breakfast became a fortress of nutrition: a big bowl of iron-fortified cereal with milk, and a handful of almonds. For lunch, she'd have a massive spinach salad with cheese, and for dinner, lean red meat with a side of broccoli and a glass of milk. She was also taking her prenatal vitamin, which had both iron and calcium. On paper, she was acing it, but a few weeks into her second trimester, something felt off. Despite her perfect diet, she was constantly exhausted. Not just the normal pregnancy fatigue, but a deep, bone-weary tiredness that made getting through the day feel like climbing a mountain. She felt weak, her skin was pale, and she was getting dizzy spells. It was confusing and, honestly, a little scary. She was doing everything by the book, so why did she feel worse than ever? Her doctor ran some routine blood tests, and the results were a huge surprise. Emily was borderline anemic. Her iron levels were low. How could this be? She was eating iron-rich foods all day long. Her doctor asked her to walk him through her daily meals. As she described her diet, he gently stopped her at breakfast. Iron-fortified cereal with milk, he said, and then a spinach and cheese salad for lunch. A little light bulb went on. He explained something Emily had never considered: the great nutrient battle. It turns out that iron and calcium are like two competitive siblings. When you consume them in large amounts at the same time, they fight for absorption in your body. Calcium, being the bigger, more aggressive sibling, often wins. This means that a lot of the iron Emily was so carefully consuming was being blocked by the high amounts of calcium in her milk and cheese. Her prenatal vitamin was another culprit. Many contain both iron and calcium, and if taken together, the same competition happens. All that effort, and her body wasn't getting the full benefit of the iron. This revelation was both a relief and a source of new anxiety for Emily. Okay, so she had to separate her iron and calcium. But how? It felt like another complicated rule to follow on top of everything else. Her doctor gave her a simple strategy. Think of your meals in terms of iron-focused and calcium-focused. He suggested aiming for at least a 2-hour window between a high-calcium meal or supplement and a high-iron one. So, Emily's diet got a makeover. It was a bit like solving a puzzle at first. For breakfast, she switched to oatmeal made with water instead of milk. She'd stir in some molasses and pumpkin seeds for an iron boost, and have a small glass of orange juice on the side. Vitamin C, she learned, is iron's best friend. It dramatically enhances its absorption. The milk she loved? She'd have that as a mid-morning snack, maybe blended into a smoothie with some fruit, a couple of hours after her iron-rich breakfast. Lunch became her main iron meal. She'd have a lentil soup or a chicken salad sandwich on whole wheat bread. She was careful to avoid cheese or creamy dressings. Then, in the mid-afternoon, she'd have her calcium moment: a Greek yogurt, a handful of almonds, or that piece of cheese she'd been craving. Dinner was a mix, but she was mindful. If she had steak, she'd skip the cheesy potato bake and opt for roasted sweet potatoes and steamed green beans instead. She also started taking her prenatal vitamin with her lunch, away from her calcium-heavy snacks. Now, I want to be real with you. It wasn't perfect. There were days Emily forgot. Days she was out with friends and just ate the cheese pizza without thinking twice. In the beginning, she'd get really down on herself, feeling like she'd failed. This is the emotional side of pregnancy we don't talk about enough. The pressure to be perfect can be immense. She'd worry that one wrong meal wouldn't do all her hard work. But over time, she learned a powerful lesson: consistency trumps perfection. One meal wasn't going to make or break her health or the baby's. What mattered was the overall pattern. She started to see it not as a rigid set of rules, but as a gentle rhythm for her day. She started listening to her body more and stressing about the details less. And the results? They were incredible. Within a few weeks of this new approach, the change was noticeable. The fog of exhaustion started to lift. She had more energy to go for walks, to prepare the nursery, to actually enjoy her pregnancy. The dizziness disappeared. Her skin regained its healthy glow. At her next checkup, her iron levels were back in the healthy range. She felt strong, capable, and in tune with her body in a way she hadn't before. The biggest takeaway for Emily, and for all of us, is that nutrition is nuanced. It's not just about what you eat, but how and when you eat it. The concept of nutrient timing isn't just for athletes. It's incredibly important during a time of great physical demand like pregnancy. Separating your main sources of iron and calcium by just a couple of hours can make a world of difference in how your body absorbs and utilizes these vital minerals. So, if you're pregnant and feeling exhausted despite eating a healthy diet, this might be something to look into. Talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian. Ask them about nutrient timing. It could be the missing piece of your wellness puzzle. Remember Emily's story. It's not about achieving dietary perfection. It's about being informed, making small, smart adjustments, and being kind to yourself through the process. Your body is doing something amazing. The goal is to support it, not to stress it out. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Emily's journey today. I hope it provided some valuable insight. If you've had a similar experience or have any tips of your own, please share them in the comments below. We can all learn from each other. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content to support you on your beautiful journey. Take care and be well. Having a healthy, safer pregnancy starts with a simple, profound truth. The more you understand your food, the more in control you feel of your body, your energy, and your baby's development. And that sense of control isn't about strict diets or stressful rules. It comes from clarity. It comes from knowing which foods matter the most and why. So let's walk through the most powerful iron and calcium foods that truly support you during pregnancy, not as a list of things to eat, but as a living part of your everyday story. Iron-rich foods are the first chapter of this transformation. Think about spinach, not because it's trendy, but because it's accessible, affordable, and so versatile. You can toss it into everything: smoothies, eggs, soups, pastas. Next up is kale, a bit stronger in flavor but incredibly rich in iron and antioxidants. A quick tip: sauteing it with garlic and lemon helps soften the bitterness. Then you have lentils, the quiet hero of pregnancy nutrition. They're so comforting, warm, earthy, grounding. Every bowl of lentils feels like you're giving your baby strength in the purest form. Black beans and kidney beans should become staples too. You can add them to salads, burritos, bowls, and even homemade patties. They provide a fantastic combination of iron, protein, and steady energy that will carry you through those slow afternoons. And chickpeas, my personal favorite, are perfect roasted, blended into hummus, or cooked with tomatoes and spices. You'll feel so empowered knowing that with every bean-based meal, you're actively reducing your risk of anemia. Another game changer? Pumpkin seeds. Just a handful delivers a powerful dose of iron. I recommend keeping a small bag of them in your purse for quick, meaningful snacks. Quinoa might enter your routine gently, but before you know it, you won't be able to imagine your meals without it. It's light but filling, iron-rich, and full of the amino acids that support your growing blood volume. And of course, there are eggs, simple, yet so essential. The yolk carries iron, vitamins, and healthy fats that keep you energized. Even on days when you don't feel like eating much, eggs are one of those reliable foods you can count on. See, iron isn't complicated. It's about choosing foods that support you from the inside out. But calcium is equally important. It's literally shaping your baby's bones, teeth, muscles, and heart. Make yogurt a daily habit, either plain or sweetened naturally with fruit. It keeps your digestion smooth and your calcium intake steady. Milk or fortified plant-based milks are another easy way to hit your daily requirements. A great time to have them is at night, when your body is doing its most important restorative work. And let's not forget cheese. It brings joy to your meals, melted on whole grain toast, layered into wraps, or just eaten as a simple snack. It makes you feel nourished without any guilt. You can also discover unexpected calcium sources like tofu, which provides both calcium and protein, and chia seeds, which you can soak overnight to make a delicious pudding. On busy days, fortified orange juice can be a lifesaver. It delivers calcium and vitamin C at the same time, which makes absorption seamless. And remember kale and broccoli? They show up again, proving they're true powerhouses for both iron and calcium. Now, this is where most pregnant women unknowingly make mistakes. I made them too. Mistake number 1: eating iron and calcium together. Early in my pregnancy, I was doing this, and I couldn't figure out why I was still so tired and foggy. They compete for absorption. Once I separated them, having my iron-rich foods in the morning and calcium-rich foods later in the day, everything improved. Mistake number 2: relying only on supplements instead of food. Supplements are important, but real food carries fiber, enzymes, and co-nutrients that help your body actually use the minerals. Your body knows how to process food. And mistake number 3: not pairing iron with vitamin C. Without vitamin C from foods like oranges, bell peppers, or strawberries, iron absorption drops dramatically. You're just not getting the full benefit. Once I understood and avoided these common mistakes, the difference was like night and day. My energy lifted, my breathing felt easier, my mind was clearer, my appetite returned, and my sleep improved. Even my mood stabilized. I felt less overwhelmed emotionally because my body wasn't constantly running on empty anymore. Then came a moment I will never forget. During a routine checkup, my doctor looked at my lab results and said, "Your iron levels look great. Your calcium intake is perfect. Keep doing exactly what you're doing." I just sat there, holding that piece of paper, and tears filled my eyes. But this time, they weren't tears of fear. They were tears of pride. I felt like I was finally winning at something I once felt so lost in. I felt capable, strong, and ready for whatever the next trimester would bring. But the biggest transformation wasn't just physical, it was internal. I realized how many women go through pregnancy feeling confused, scared, or exhausted simply because no one ever explained nutrition to them in a simple, human way. I promised myself that if I ever had the chance, I would help other moms understand what I learned, not through lectures or complicated science, but through real stories and simple guidance. And that's exactly what we're doing here today, turning that experience into a roadmap for you. As we move forward, everything you've learned so far will come together. We'll talk about emotional nourishment, how to build a simple routine you can actually follow every day, and how these powerful foods can shape not just your pregnancy, but your entire motherhood experience. This is the moment where everything becomes clear, empowering, and full of heart. Thank you so much for watching, and if this helped, please consider subscribing for more stories and support. When I first saw those two pink lines, a million emotions flooded my mind. Excitement, a little bit of fear, but mostly an overwhelming sense of love and responsibility for this tiny new life growing inside me. My pregnancy journey began, and with it, a journey of self-discovery, especially when it came to food. Before pregnancy, I was a grab-and-go kind of person. A quick coffee for breakfast, a salad for lunch if I remembered, and whatever was easiest for dinner. I never really thought about nutrition, but now, I wasn't just eating for one. Every bite I took was building my baby's bones, their blood, their future. That's a heavy thought, right? My first trimester was a blur of morning sickness and exhaustion. The idea of food was, frankly, nauseating. My doctor mentioned how crucial iron and calcium were. Iron for preventing anemia and ensuring my baby gets enough oxygen, and calcium for building strong bones and teeth. I looked at my pale reflection in the mirror, feeling completely drained, and knew I had to make a change. This wasn't just about me anymore. So, I started small. I couldn't stomach much, but I could manage a handful of spinach blended into a smoothie with some orange juice. The vitamin C in the juice, I learned, helps your body absorb iron better. It was a tiny step, but it was my first real act of conscious nourishment. It felt like a secret pact between me and my baby. I'm taking care of you, little one. As I moved into my second trimester, the honeymoon phase, my energy returned, and so did my appetite. This was my chance to really lean into this new way of eating. I became a student of nutrition. I swapped my morning coffee for a warm glass of fortified milk and a bowl of oatmeal sprinkled with chia seeds. Did you know just a tablespoon of chia seeds has a surprising amount of calcium? Lunch became my iron-boosting meal. I discovered the magic of lentils. I made lentil soups, lentil salads, even lentil burgers. They are packed with iron and fiber, which, let's be real, is a pregnant woman's best friend. I pair them with bell peppers or tomatoes to get that vitamin C boost for iron absorption. I also fell in love with lean red meat again, but in a more mindful way. A small, well-cooked steak once or twice a week felt like a supercharged treat. I'd imagine that iron rushing through my body, delivering oxygen to every part of me and my growing baby. My kitchen transformed from a place of convenience to a sanctuary of creation. I started experimenting with calcium-rich foods beyond just dairy. I roasted broccoli with garlic and a sprinkle of parmesan. I snacked on almonds and dried figs. I even started making my own yogurt bowls with berries and a drizzle of honey. It was delicious. I realized healthy eating didn't have to be boring or restrictive. It could be vibrant, flavorful, and deeply satisfying. Every time I felt a little kick or a flutter, it was like a thank you note from my baby. It was a reminder that my efforts were making a difference. I was building a human being, bone by bone, cell by cell, with love and with food. This realization was incredibly empowering. I wasn't just a vessel. I was a creator, a nurturer, a life giver. This journey wasn't just about the physical though. It changed my relationship with my own body. For the first time, I wasn't criticizing it or wishing it were different. I was in awe of it. I was amazed by its ability to stretch, to adapt, to create life. Nourishing it with good food was my way of saying thank you. Thank you for being so strong, so resilient, so incredible. There were hard days, of course. Days when all I craved was a giant bag of potato chips. And you know what? Sometimes I had them. This journey wasn't about perfection. It was about intention. It was about making conscious choices more often than not. It was about listening to my body and giving it what it needed, whether that was a nutrient-dense salad or a moment of pure, unadulterated comfort. As I neared my due date, I felt stronger and more prepared than I ever thought possible. My iron levels were great. My baby was growing perfectly, and I felt radiant. This glow that everyone talks about, I think it comes from the inside. It's the light of a healthy body and a happy soul. Looking back, this culinary adventure was one of the most profound parts of my pregnancy. It taught me about food, yes, but it also taught me about patience, about self-love, and about the incredible power of a mother's instinct. It connected me to my baby in a way I never expected, long before I could hold them in my arms. So if you're an expectant mom, or even just someone looking to have a better relationship with food and your body, my advice is this: start small. Be curious. See your food not as calories to be counted, but as fuel to be celebrated. Every bite is an opportunity to honor your body and the amazing things it can do. This journey of nourishment is really a journey back to yourself. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this journey with me. If this resonated with you, please give this video a like and subscribe for more stories. I'd love to hear about your own experiences in the comments below. Take care.